All right, what's up, everybody? Market Movers, episode 4, Thursday, May 13th. We've already got the first game of the day underway with the Atlanta Braves leading the Blue Jays already. Ronald Acuna hit the home run. Let's bring in Justin here. We'll give everybody a few minutes to kind of file in. But how you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's a little bit of an interesting day for me, making my early edge debut in a couple of hours. I'm very excited. How about yourself? How's your morning going over in beautiful Nashville?
It is an absolutely beautiful morning in Nashville. Got up a little, my normal early time. Got a little movement in, moved the body a little bit. Had a little latte, ran some baseball numbers, found an edge that I really liked.
There we go.
So,
I think I did
yeah,
two of those things. I did two of those things. I did the numbers and I found an edge I liked. But you seem to be off to a hot start on these Braves.
Yeah, great. We'll see how it goes. I have the Braves minus half a run in the first 5 innings. Was the better play in the model, especially as the game started to move as I got around to getting to it. And I really don't expect Charlie Morton to last much longer than the 5th inning in this game. I think that he'll be able to work his way out of trouble if he gets into it, but I think that's going to come with an elevated pitch count. And obviously in the National League Park, you're always at the risk of pinch hitting when there's a plus EV situation at the plate. So
yeah,
we know all of those things, but there was a lot of movement on this one. Minus 140 to minus 145 open, closed at minus 160 to minus 165. Certainly one of the bigger moves. I mean,
10 cents, no real back and forth. There was maybe a little bit of buyback right before first pitch, but it still closed at like minus 167 or so. I'm seeing. I mean, obviously, all depends on your book. But all right. I mean, again, we're not going to keep it too long. It looks like we have a pretty full slate. It's not. I don't believe it's all 15 games. It looks like it's about. Looks like it's about 13 games. I'm very interested in this early morning slate. I think we have this early afternoon slate. I think we have some great games. I'm very excited to see if Detroit sweeps the Kansas City Royals.
That would be something.
I don't think it happens. I really don't think it happens. I saw some very interesting statistics this morning about the day games for the Royals. They've been a lot better in the day games, and I believe that these teams have played already, and I think the Royals are 3-0 in the day games they've played. So you never know. Trends can mean nothing. Trends can mean everything. It depends on how you look at them and how you filter them. So, but you and I know that. But all right, what's caught your eye on the slate today besides this Atlanta game? Anything?
Yeah, I mean, I sent the tweet out a little bit this morning. I think the Braves game moving 20 to 25 cents was huge. The Nationals game, I think this one's kind of interesting because I don't know that I can get behind it as bad as Patrick Corbin has been. Like, do I think he's going to regress and be a little better? Yes, obviously. Like, I think he's going to be – I would be stunned if at the end of the season Patrick Corbin was, like, significantly, meaningfully worse than the league average starting pitcher.
I would agree.
We're talking about someone that was an ace. I will concede that he is no longer an ace. I will not concede that he is a bottom 15, 20% pitcher in Major League Baseball at this point yet. So I do expect some of that regression. The numbers do not indicate that it's coming so far with the expected data. Logic will have to prevail there, and we're going to assume that he's going to get a little better. But we've seen some buying on Washington, plus 103 over to minus 108 in some of the spots. It's one I may not. Yeah.
I think people are a little bit worried about Elfin and if he continues to perform as well as he has, because he might be overperforming. But when it comes down to this game, I actually do have a play. Not really going to say too much, but I really think the lineups are going to be a big difference here. You just have, spots on the Nationals, like the batting order isn't as good at making solid contact. It isn't good at making a hard hit. The launch angle's a little worse. The Phillies, they got a nice couple hitters on that side, and if Corbin isn't sort of at that level where he might be even better than the average, I don't know. I think Phillies jump on an average pitcher. So if that's all Corbin is, then
I tend to agree with you. I played the daily fantasy slate for this one, which was only a 5-game slate this morning. And one of my 3 lineups is a complete game stack of this game, actually. I have 4 hitters in both lineups. My issue with, Patrick Corbin and how he pitches, it's literally going to come down to whether or not he can control the walks. He has had very poor command so far. Putting runners on base for free for this Phillies lineup is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it's a recipe for disaster for every team. But, when you have some of the hitters that they have there's your second run, that they do, it's going to be an interesting one. But
yeah, I need a base knock badly. Runners at second and third, 1 out, 2 runs already in. Let's give me a single.
I think we get it. I think we could talk right now about our expected runs. You were talking about a little this morning. This is definitely a situation where you do expect 1 run at the minimum. But when you average it out, my guess is it probably comes out to a little bit worse than. Do you have the number? I don't have it up.
I definitely have the number. Yeah. I usually actually have a lot of them memorized because I've been doing this for so long and it's always fascinated me. But second and third with 1 out, the run expectancy is about 1.4 runs. Wow. It's really, in this situation, it is. Normally it's about 1.35. It's much closer to 1.4 considering the speed that is on the bases and the part of the order the team is at home, et cetera, all of those things. But yeah, the expectancy is 1.4. So like right now, inning ending, the Braves should be up 3.4 to 0.
Yeah. We love to see it. As anyone who's really followed me through my somewhat brief capping career, they know I play your picks and I always have. So I'm with you. I love the spot. I was almost going to just take the Braves totally just because Stripling, come on, the numbers on Stripling were awful. He's just not good. He gives up way too much barrel percent, which, is one of the most looked at statistics in baseball right now. But you know what? Let's get it. Let's get this first 5 win, and hopefully we get a nice day.
Absolutely. Let's look at the other 2 that stood out as far as market movement. Then we'll check for some more. The Houston Astros, we've seen a little buying there. They're a massive minus 210 favorite now at this point. Opened around minus 190. Unclear how long that line was actually available for many people. Probably for a little bit, but I'm sure it got hit very quickly. And then the Cleveland Indians, minus 135 opening. At the time I posted it, they were down to minus 115. I have not checked it in the last half hour, but 20 cents there for the road favorite is it's meaningful for sure.
It looks like there was a little bit of buyback at 115, and it even came back to like 122 for a second, but it looks like it's going to close. Well, I can't talk about it's going to close. It's 10 hours till game time, but it looks like it's hovering at minus 120 for right now. I see as the consensus. But I don't know. The Mariners got a little bit, got their butts handed to them the last couple of games. They've lost 4 in a row. They see the Indians tonight sending out, is it Plesac? Is that how you say it?
Yep. That's how I say it. So
yeah, I think the money's probably going to be on the Indians. I don't know if the Mariners have really been all that great the last couple of days, and the Indians have beaten some good teams in the last few series.
Yeah, they definitely have. It is it's normally a tough travel spot in general. One thing I was always fascinated by, and I probably will do it again this year. It's kind of skewed a little bit because of the lack of fans, but I'm always fascinated by which teams every year have success over the course of the season and in the playoffs based on the number of miles they traveled, because the World Series winner for a stretch of about 7 years, and I say World Series winner, it was also including teams that were both in the AL championship, NL championship. Those teams almost always came from the bottom 10 in terms of like the teams that traveled the fewest miles during that season. Even the year like when random teams like the Kansas City Royals won it, when other things like that, it's one thing I looked at a lot. So in the past, I've done some, I can't speak about it massively, but I've done some consulting at the Major League level with Major League Baseball teams. One thing that I was looking at for the next platoon, so we platoon left versus right hitters all the time. What I wanted to do is take advantage. My theory also is like with outfielders and non-star players, the delta between AA players, AAA players, and major league players is incredibly small, especially when you give those AA and AAA players the accommodations and living conditions that the major league players get when they get to travel on the road with the team. So what I was looking at doing, rather than platooning left versus right completely, platoon with some of your older guys or guys that may need a break. If you know that, for example, I'm a right-handed hitter and I'm a left-handed hitter, for example, and we know we're probably going to travel to the Dodgers, be facing 2 left-handed pitchers out of the 3 games in the series, I'm likely someone who's going to not play. Why make me travel and sit on the bench in that game? Call someone up and send them from AA, AAA, give that guy the rest, let them stay home, all sorts of fun things like that. You have to navigate the roster move rules and all of the things that go into that. But I think that's the future of platooning, and I think that's something that we will see at some point.
That's fascinating. And it lines up with a lot of things that you see across sports, right? I mean, one of my personal favorite trends from any betting year in the NFL is fading teams flying east. It's just hard. It's hard to travel. It's hard to be an athlete and move time zones. I've flown a fair amount in my life, but I mean, imagine it being every day and having to play 100+ games. And I'm sure in a season like baseball, where you do have double the next sport, essentially, in terms of the game amount, you have such a wear and tear from all that traveling that it makes total sense to me that miles traveled have a significant impact on the players' bodies. And that's gonna mean worse control. That's gonna mean, slower hands through the zone and all these things. They produce expected runs. So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it makes a ton of sense, right? You fly up, you expose the body to altitude, you're messing with circadian rhythms. It's definitely something. And in a sport like baseball, for example, where the hand-eye coordination and just the muscle memory in general, throwing all of that off is minor tweaks have a massive, massive impact, as we see with VMI and some of the other things that we look at.
You just give me so many new ideas to maybe build new models around. I just don't even know when I'm going to have the time to make my miles traveled and air density and VMI system. But I want to do it. I'm going to do it.
Definitely. The travel is definitely significant. We know about it in the NFL. It's talked about all the time in the NFL. But it should be talked about more in the sport of baseball for sure. Yep. All right. Any other movements or games that stand out to you as being interesting? We've already, you kind of hit on the Colorado game a little bit on Twitter. Big VMI there. Pretty friendly run scoring environment today. Yeah,
really quickly, and I'll probably talk about it a little bit later. I was able to actually grab this, and I posted it in your Discord at around 1:30 this morning. It opened at 10.5. The over opened at 10.5, and I wouldn't be surprised if it closes at 11.5. And it's just those are the types of places where you're like, wait, the Cincinnati offense, idea is their VMI is so high because they're traveling from Pittsburgh, but the idea is that the climate and the humidity is going to be just so much more favorable that the breaking balls are going to break less, right? So they're going to be coming from an environment where the pitching in Pittsburgh, the relievers, whatever, their fastball was maybe breaking, the slider was coming out of the arm slot, differently and breaking differently. Now everything's going to just fire straight. So people talk about the altitude, but they don't talk about the fact that pitches can't break through the air as well. You're getting less breaking balls and you're getting more altitude at the same time. So yeah, let's go over, man.
Yeah, I agree with that too. It's actually hilarious that we're talking about it because I believe that today's Thursday. So it would have been Monday or Tuesday for sure. We were talking about the weather and how terrible it was in Colorado for the Padres series. It was 38 degrees and snowing there. Today it's going to be 73 and mostly sunny.
Colorado, fun place to live.
35-degree temperature change in 2 days. Two totally different worlds that you're playing in when it comes to playing a baseball game there.
And the Reds are getting the one that they want. That's the key here. The Reds are getting the one they want. It's going to be gorgeous. The air is going to be thin. The ball's going to be flying.
Yes. One other thought. I don't know if you have a pick on this game or not. I haven't looked yet. But the one game that stood out to me in my head, which is why I model the games, right? And I think a lot of people probably have this thought today. Miami Marlins, Trevor Rogers. We saw this game. I think it was like minus 115. I think it's going to be a big public spot, right, for them on the road against Kelly. He's been awful for the Diamondbacks. Rogers, we know, has been very good. Do you have any thoughts here on this one? When I start my process in the morning, I look through the games just for fun to kind of see like, okay, like, yeah, my simulations will most likely be on this, or like, there's no way here. And this was a game that I had circled that I thought, okay, I'm probably going to end up playing the Miami Marlins today, and I'm probably going to hate it, right? And fortunately, I did the simulations, and I did not have value on the Marlins. I had it as showing pretty efficient. Did you have similar thoughts? Any thoughts on this one?
Again, I usually stay up to get those overnight lines. I'm one of those. It served me very well in my career. I saw this, I think it opened at like 110, 115. Yeah, it opened at 119 or 115 in some spots. And I immediately knew that, we were going to get value on the line. But it made so much sense. I mean, everyone is kind of buzzing about Trevor Rogers. And, for good reason. The kid can pitch, but, he does have some weaknesses on that curveball a little bit. And I do think that Arizona does hit lefties pretty well. I couldn't necessarily bring myself to play it because I do know the Arizona bats are hitting pretty well. And again, how many times have these teams been playing?
Right. It feels like they're playing every day that we look up. Every day.
They've had 2 series this month. They've played 7. This will be their 7th game facing each other in May.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that's pretty unheard of. But right now, I mean, if you want to think about it, they probably know each other pretty well. They've been really going back and forth. Miami, Arizona. Arizona actually has won 2 of this. Then Miami. So I would expect Arizona probably wants to come out and get this game and keep it as close as possible. So I'd be on Arizona. I know 71% on Miami. Oh man, take the contrarian play.
Yeah, no play for me on it. It's just always, it's kind of nice to see that, right? You see the one where like, I thought I was going to play it. It makes a little, no sense initially. You're like, this guy should be minus 130, minus 140. Simulations tell you otherwise, but I was surprised at how well the Diamondbacks hit left-handed pitching so far. They have absolutely crushed left-handed pitching.
I was surprised. But all right, really quickly. 2 a.m. vibe. Man, I know my hair is messy. Just checking the comments. But all right, we're going to be in I have been on that 2 a.m. grind, but I just need to get a haircut, guys, I swear. But we'll leave the questions for the early edge. It's going to be a fun hour. Mike and I are going to be joined by Coach. We're going to take questions. We're going to talk about the slate. I'm very excited, but I think we'll probably leave the daily show there for now.
Yep, we'll definitely be on the early edge. It's 5 p.m. Eastern is when we're going to go there. Probably run that for about an hour. Should be a good time. I'll see you guys around. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back with a lot more tomorrow. As always, follow us on Twitter. Drop any questions you could potentially have over there, and we will see you guys later.